Welcome to the AI Business News Desk. Terry Sweeney here, contributing editor to AI Business. And joining me now is Pinaki Saha, founder and CEO of Anshar Labs. Pinaki, thanks so much for joining us on the news desk today.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
Let's start with some discussion about the transition of NLP over the last several months and years. NLP has been there for quite a while, but once LLMs came on the scene, NLP has suddenly become a lot more powerful in different faculties. Talk about the drivers of that and why we're seeing that again.
Yeah, it's very interesting. We have been hearing NLP for many, many years, almost decades. There have been research for natural language processing for many years now. But over the last 3-4 years, it has been an inflection point for NLP. What happened was that natural language processing, before the advent of real hardcore LLMs, it was more of a language processing framework where any system can be extracted algorithmically from documentation standpoint, and a sense of that language could be defined in terms of the grammar and the semantics of it. And that's where I almost kind of stayed for many, many years. But when LLM came in the picture, they provided the context. So think about you reading a paper text, like a paragraph, and you don't have LLMs. Think about the old NLP, and you'd like to probably cultivate all the grammar elements, the language, the connectivity of the language, and that's pretty much it. But when LLM came, they gave it context, like how humans read language. When you read a paragraph about something or visualization of a nice villa in Tuscany written up in an editorial, you really imagine the Tuscany, and it comes in your head and how you evaluate that. Same that what LLM gave NLP, the context of that whole visualization element of that language. That's why LLP suddenly became so important that now it's driving everything about contextualizing language.
All right. Well, in tandem with that, knowledge graphs have emerged. Talk to us about what a knowledge graph is for viewers who may be new to it, and how AI models and machines use the information that's contained in these knowledge graphs.
Absolutely. So what happened was, now continuing on the heels of NLP, language, if you look at language, and if you look at reading some article or paragraph, and if it's unstructured, means PDFs, Word documents, anything that is flat textual information, there's no connectivity between the key decisions or events that appear on that language or that documentation. For example, I'll go healthcare for a second. Let's say you're reading a journal about a discovery of a medicine, and there is a disease and there's a drug, and the drug leads to the cure of the disease. But if you're looking at a paragraph, humanly you can understand that this drug led to the cure of that disease. But computers don't know that this drug led to the cure of the disease, even if you're using some languages. So to structure that information in something that could be later on retrieved based on, show me the disease that this drug can cure, that to answer that question, you have to have a contextual ability to connect these two dots. That's what knowledge graph gives you. It gives that entity relationship. If you consider those events, like a drug and a disease, as two big circles, the line that connects them is the edge, and that leads to that decision. So now, the LLMs and the machines now realize that this drug led to the cure of that disease, and the connectivity is the knowledge graph. So it can be a 3D lattice, like a kind of a fractal or diamond structure of all the information floating in there, and they're connected with arrows, and gives those decisions to connect with the results that come from it.
Okay, that's great. The conventional wisdom is that LLMs are getting commoditized, and multi-agents are in fact the next frontier. Talk about how knowledge graphs play a role in this transition and these multi-agent systems.
Yeah, this probably you're hearing over the last 2 years that multi-agent systems are growing like crazy because everybody wants to replace humans.
Sure.
And they're saying that, well, if I have a bartender who is drinking, mixing the drink, and then handing it over to the other person on the bar, and that person takes it in the tray and hands it over to the guy on the table, we want to think about machines will do that, but everybody has their own job, right? So one agent makes the drink, other agent carries it to the table, and then this whole process works out that way, right? So what is happening in knowledge graph is that when one agent finishes some work, like I'm done mixing the drink, somebody has to now take it to the customer. The other agent who comes in, they need to know that the drink is finished. And it needs to be delivered to a customer, not to somebody outside the restaurant. So all this information has to be collapsed towards a kind of a overall hierarchical information layer that everybody will communicate with. Knowledge graph provides that hierarchical information common source layer where all this information stays and communicates each other.
Can you give us a use case about how knowledge graphs and agentics can help solve a common human problem?
Yeah, sure. If you look at elderly parents, if you think about it, they often go to seniors living where they have to be in a room where they have been treated. There are a lot of activities that go on. In multi-agent systems where we're basically looking at knowledge graph and multi-agent systems, creating agents or providing services. For example, if you have to do blood tests and the results go to the doctor, physician, then the physician makes drug choices from that results. These are all multi-agent systems that are very commonly used today in human aspect. So that's where knowledge graph and multi-agent systems will be coming in and doing work for you in a common life, common world of taking care of the elderly people.
All right, thank you for that. Pinaki, close us out with some thoughts for viewers who may not be certain if this approach is right for them. What would you tell them with regard to the power of knowledge graphs?
From a standpoint of knowledge graph, what happens that we are finding more and more that I believe you have heard something called garbage in, garbage out.
Indeed.
Right? So if you put bad data into LLM, the LLM will produce bad results, outcomes. What knowledge graph is almost like the filter. It provides the ability to clean the data, provide a cleaner set of data for the LLM to make sense of it. So there's nothing to be worried about knowledge graph. Knowledge graphs are great things now coming into the model, and they will provide much better analysis for the LLM to produce better results because they're there.
Good stuff. Well, Pinaki, thank you so much for joining us on the AI Business News Desk today.
Absolutely my pleasure, and thank you so much, Terry, for taking the time.
We've been talking with Pinaki Saha of Anshar Labs. This has been Terry Sweeney for the AI Business News Desk. Thanks for joining us for this segment. We'll see you next time.